Hey guys, what's up? It's Autobot Mike 18 here. Guys, happy Halloween. I hope you guys are enjoying the holiday. Hope you guys are running around wearing Michael Myers masks, stalking little children and babysitters. Guys, in this video I'm basically going to talk about some of my personal favorite horror movies and my personal favorite thriller movies. I'm going to be recommending some of the best horror movies and some of the best thriller movies to be watching around Halloween time. So I hope you guys enjoy. Okay, so before I get started, I just want to really make one thing clear. I'm going to be talking about all of the horror movies and the thriller movies that I own in my collection. I'm going to be recommending the best ones for you guys to watch around Halloween time. And so yeah, there are a lot of movies that I don't own in my collection. I mean, I have a pretty decent Blu-ray and DVD collection, but they don't have the biggest one out there. So there are going to be a lot of horrors and thriller movies that I do not have and I'm not going to be talking about. So guys, if I do not talk about any horror movie or any thriller movie that you personally like to watch around Halloween time, let me know down below in the comments what I left out. And yeah, gotta start talking about horror movies and thriller movies. So first up, guys, it's The Strangers on Blu-ray. This is a really creepy home invasion thriller movie. I'll never forget when I saw this in the theaters in 2008. Stars Liv Tyler and Scott Speedman. It's, like I said, it's a home invasion movie. These three people in masks, one of them looks like Betty Boop, and they attack this couple in this house in the middle of nowhere, and it was just a really creepy movie. There were a lot of slow moments in the movie. It was very gory, and it was, you know, critics really didn't give this movie the best praise, but I really enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun time watching it, and I would definitely recommend you check out The Strangers, especially around Halloween time. It's a great movie to watch, you know, late at night, turn all the lights off, and there you go, you're all set. Next up, it's Vacancy. Vacancy starring Luke Wilson and Kate Beckinsale, and it's basically about this couple that goes to this basically abandoned hotel. There's no other hotel guests. They go to this hotel with this really creepy owner. Take a look at that guy. Look at that guy right there. He's really creepy. He had the glasses and everything. He did like the thing with his, like, you know, he like twitched or whatever. I don't know. But it's run by this really creepy hotel owner. They're having car problems, so they're staying overnight at this really crappy motel. And they begin to be stalked by these killers and the hotel owner himself. And, you know, they find video cameras all in their room. And the guy basically films them killing his own hotel guests, and then he watches them over and over again. When I first watched Vacancy, I really liked it. It's basically a fun thriller movie. Kind of like The Strangers, this movie didn't get the best reviews from critics, but overall, it's still a very fun movie. There are a lot of really, some gory kills in this movie. Yeah, it is rated R. And I think it's just a lot of fun. It's definitely a great movie to watch around Halloween time. I definitely enjoyed it. What did you think about it? Let me know down below. Okay guys, so next up I'm going to be talking about some of the best and some of my personal favorite found footage movies to be watching around Halloween time. Now, found footage is definitely not for everybody. Not everybody loves found footage. A lot of my friends don't like it. My parents themselves absolutely hate it. It's not for everybody, but I myself am a big fan of found footage. I think it adds a bit of realism to horror movies and thriller movies, and I love how they're filmed on like either handheld cameras or whatever. It's just, you know, I love like the shakiness to them. You know, the camera work is a little bit shaky, but I think it adds to realism. I mean, yeah, are they dumb at times? Yeah, they are, but you know what? They're a lot of fun. That's why I like to watch them around Halloween times. First up, one of the best found footage movies I've ever seen. It's not really a horror movie. It is a thriller, yes, and it's Cloverfield on Blu-ray. Cloverfield, I did not see this in the theaters, and when I watched it home on Blu-ray, I think last year, I was blown away by how visually striking this movie was, how really intense it was, and it was just set in New York City. Had a really good cast, in my opinion, and I love the guy who was holding the camera. What was his name? Hud. He was awesome. That guy was a badass. And anyway, it's just a really fun movie. It was directed by Matt Reeves. It was produced by J.J. Abrams, and it was just a visually incredible film, and it was just a whole lot of fun in New York City. This monster named Clover running around wrecking havoc in New York City. This one guy's looking for his girlfriend, and it was just a lot of fun. Great found footage movie. Good camera work, actually, for a found footage movie, I'll say, and the visuals just blew me the hell away. So I would definitely recommend you check out Cloverfield. Either you love them or you either hate them. I don't know, but it's the Paranormal Activity movies. Now, the Paranormal Activity movies, everybody raved about the first one. and everyone loved it. Then they started making the sequels, and everybody knows that the sequels are never as good as the originals, and a lot of people say that they got worse as they went on, and a lot of people say that the sequels never hold up to the first movie. Well, I would say differently. I really enjoy the Paranormal Activity franchise. I know they're coming out with the 5th one shortly in January, which is never good. Movies that come out in January, that's never good. Let's just put it at that. But I like the Paranormal Activity movies. They're creepy. Have they ever scared the hell out of me? No. Did they make me jump in a few scenes? Are there jump scares in the movies? Yes, there are. But you know what? They're fun. They're different. Have we ever seen something like this before? No, we haven't. So I got to give them to the movies. Now, my favorite order of these movies, in terms of how I like them, you know what? I'm probably going to go 2, 4, 1, and 3. That's probably my order. I like 2 the most. For some reason, it just really impressed me. Now, the first time I watched the first Paranormal Activity, I'll never forget, I hated it. And then I watched it again, and I'm like, okay, you know what, it was good. And then I watched the sequels, and I just got more into these movies as they went on, actually. And, yeah, so I would definitely recommend you guys check them out. I know they're completely out of order right now, but what are you going to do? Now, yeah, my only problems with these movies, maybe a few plot holes here and there. Other than that, I thought they were good, for the most part. Decent acting. The first one was made on a very low budget. It made a killing amount of money at the box office. And, you know what? I like them. And I would recommend them, but they're not for everyone. If you don't like found footage movies, don't watch them. You're not going to like them. I can tell you won't. But if you do like found footage movies, I think you'll like the Paranormal Activity films. Overall, I would recommend the Paranormal Activity movies, especially around Halloween time. They're the perfect movies to watch around Halloween time. Alright, it's time for the moment many of you horror movie buffs have been waiting for, like myself. I'm going to be talking about some of the best horror movies right now to be watching around Halloween time, guys. They're all going to laugh at you. That's right, guys. It's time for Carrie White to go burn in hell. Next movie I'm going to be talking about, guys, is Carrie. Carrie just recently picked this up on Blu-ray. I know the remake with Julianne Moore and Chloe Grace Moretz just came out. Remake was okay. It was a remake, so there you go. But here is the original Carrie film from director Brian De Palma. It stars Sissy Spacek, Piper Laurie, John Travolta, a few other decent actors, and I really enjoyed the first Carrie. It's a great work based off the book by Stephen King. And it's about a girl who has telekinetic powers. She gets her revenge at her senior prom. And who could never forget the infamous prom scene, if you guys have seen this movie. And Carrie was just a really well-written horror film. It was very well directed. The prom scene, I loved the editing that they used in that scene, and just the performances were fantastic in this movie. Both of the 2 leading actresses were nominated for Oscars, and it's a perfect movie to watch around Halloween time. Again, the new remake that just came out was okay, but if you want to see the best version of Carrie, I would definitely recommend the 1976 Brian De Palma film, because it was fantastic, and it's definitely a horror film to recommend during Halloween time. Hi, I'm Chucky. Want to play? That was creepy, guys. I'm sorry. I will never do that again. I deeply apologize. Anyway, guys, that's right. It's time to start talking about the Chucky movies. Now, I don't own all the Chucky movies. I just own 2 to 5 on the Killer DVD collection right here. I need to buy part 1, which is obviously the best one, the first Child's Play. I gotta go get that on Blu-ray, and I don't have part 6 yet because that just came out. I would buy the complete collection, but you know, I'm not a huge diehard fan of the Chucky movies, and it's a little pricey right now, so I'm gonna hold off on that. But anyway, I'm gonna be talking about the series in whole, not just parts 2 to 5. Now, the Chucky movies, not my favorite horror franchise, but I do like it. The original Child's Play is one of my favorite horror films ever made. It was just really, it was different, obviously. It came out, I think, in the late 80s, the first Child's Play. And I think the Chucky movies got worse as they went on. I think the first few were the best, and I think 4 and 5, and I didn't see Curse of Chucky yet, but those weren't that great. But overall, I'll never forget the Chucky movies. They're movies about this killer doll that tries to go around killing people. He wants to put his soul into a human being. Specifically, in the first 3 movies, he tries to put his soul in a little boy named Andy. And I love the first Child's Play. Very well acted, well directed. It was creepy. The movie, they never scared me, but they were creepy, you know? Like, imagine if you were just sleeping one morning, you woke up, and you saw the Chucky doll just staring at you. I mean, that would scare the hell out of me. And, One thing, though, I never got about the Chucky movies, why didn't, like, I could picture myself, if I was ever in a room with Chucky, I could kill him. Like, I would take the doll, I would, like, bang him, I would throw him around the room, I would twist his head around. Like, I think the humans were too weak in these movies. That's something I always realized. Like, it's a freaking doll. I mean, that's just one thing I just wanted to point out. But if I was ever in a room with Chucky, I would go nuts. I would do anything to kill that bastard. But anyway, guys, I love the first Child's Play. That's honestly my favorite. The second one was good. The third one was pretty good. I like the first three. The fourth one, when they introduced Tiffany, was okay. Got kind of stupid, kind of corny. The fifth one was stupid as hell. I do not like Seed of Chucky at all. I don't like Glenn that much, really. I didn't like that character. And I think that movie, it showed us less of Chucky, and I just really didn't like Part 5 at all. Now, I didn't see Curse of Chucky, but I heard that was actually pretty decent, so I'm looking forward to checking that out. But anyway, guys, Chucky movies, I would recommend check them out. They're a must-watch. They're a must-watch to watch around Halloween time, so definitely recommend the Chucky movies. Did I scare you guys? Did you like that intro? I hope you did. Alright guys, next up I'm going to be talking about Insidious, the first movie from director James Wan. Now James Wan, I think, is a brilliant horror director. I love what he did with the first Insidious. I loved The Conjuring. I loved the first Saw, which I'm going to be talking about next. But real quick, the first Insidious will forever go down as one of the scariest movies I've ever seen in my life. I watched this movie recently on my portable Blu-ray player with my headphones in. I did keep the lights on, though. I should have turned them off. It would have made it even creepier. And I jumped like 5 or 6 times in this movie. It was the best feeling I ever had. I recently watched this before I watched Insidious Chapter 2, which came out a couple weeks ago. The sequel was okay. Very well written story, but the original Insidious, I'll never forget this movie. One of the creepiest horror movies I've ever watched. About these paranormal entities that are occurring at this family's house, and it turns out it's not the house, it's really the family themselves. These entities are trying to get at this family, and there's a much deeper story going on. I don't want to spoil anything for the first Insidious, but it was creepy, it was scary, it was so well directed by James Wan. The performances, Patrick Wilson, Rose Byrne, they really gave good performances. But what really blew me away and what really scared the hell out of me with this movie was definitely the music. The way they edited the movie and the way they placed the music at just the right moments. Like, whenever a creepy, scary scene would happen, they like blasted like this crazy violin music like what you heard before, and it just scared the hell out of me. And that's why Insidious is a classic horror film. It will forever go down as one of the scariest movies I have ever seen in my life. And I highly recommend you watch Insidious around Halloween time. Next up, another film from James Wan is the first Saw movie, the introduction of Jigsaw. Now, I loved the first Saw film. It was just such a creative and different horror movie. It was so gory and bloody, and definitely one of the best parts of the first Saw was the writing. This movie had you guessing from beginning to end. It had me on the edge of my seat when I watched it, and I'll never forget the first Saw. But I definitely recommend the first Saw. Now, I never saw all the sequels. I did see the second one, which I thought was a really good sequel, but the first one will always be the best because it was from director James Wan, who I think is a genius, and I highly recommend you guys check out the first Saw. A bloody, gory, fun horror film, very creative, very intense, a very excellent horror movie. I highly recommend you guys check out the first Saw. Okay, who's ready to get torn apart by Leatherface and his chainsaw? That's right, guys. It's time to talk about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Now, give me a second. I gotta find out when this movie came out. 1974 was the release date for the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Another one of the most classic horror films ever made. I love this movie. I think I've seen the whole thing. I remember seeing it very, very young. It was a classic slasher horror film. Introduced us to the character of Leatherface running around with his chainsaw and that crazy mask. What I really love about the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie was just how well written the story was. The movie itself was very short, which is probably the only fault of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But other than that, I love this movie. I love some of the kills in this movie. This is just such a memorable classic horror film. That's all I could say about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I love the way they ended this movie. That's another thing I love about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Now the sequels, I haven't seen the sequels, haven't seen the remakes either. I heard the newest Texas Chainsaw film was a pile of shit. But I'm not going to watch that because I don't want to ruin my thoughts on the first film. I don't want to see those remakes which have probably just destroyed this original film. But the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre is unforgettable, and I highly recommend you check it out, especially around Halloween time. Alright guys, there are a couple of other horror films I actually don't have in my collection that I want to briefly mention. They're really good movies and I don't own them yet, but I definitely want to recommend them. First one up, Nightmare on Elm Street, the introduction of Freddy Krueger and the various sequels that followed. I haven't seen all the Nightmare on Elm Street films, but the original Nightmare on Elm Street was a genius movie, very creative and original. Robert Englund killed it as Freddy Krueger. And I love the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. I highly recommend you check out the first one especially. The remake was, I'm not even going to talk about the remake, but the first Nightmare on Elm Street film was excellent. A perfect horror film to watch around Halloween time. It's a classic. So definitely check out Nightmare on Elm Street. Another horror movie that I don't have in my collection, unfortunately, is Psycho. Psycho from director Alfred Hitchcock. Definitely Psycho is one of the best horror films I have ever seen in my life. I highly recommend you. Who hasn't seen Psycho yet? I think everybody, for the most part, has. If you're a horror movie fan, you should have seen Psycho. Now, I gotta get that movie on Blu-ray somehow, but the first Psycho, it was creepy, it was really intense, it was so well directed by Alfred Hitchcock. It created the memorable, one of the most memorable characters in a horror movie ever, the character of Norman Bates, and it was just, oh my god, it was so well acted. It was, the score, oh, who can forget the famous score of Psycho? It's a classic horror film. I can't recommend it to you guys enough. Definitely go out and see the first Psycho. Also, guys, another horror film I don't have in my collection, unfortunately, I'm trying to get the Blu-ray, I want to find it cheap, is the original The Exorcist. It's actually playing on AMC right now. I actually want to go watch it. The Exorcist, again, is another classic horror film. Some people say The Exorcist is their favorite horror film of all time, and I understand that. When that movie came out in the 70s, I forget the exact year it came out, it scared the living hell out of the audience members, and The Exorcist was a really good movie from what I've seen of it. To be honest, I've never seen the first half of The Exorcist. I've only seen the second half on TV when I was a kid. I do remember parts of it, actually, and I have to literally buy the movie on Blu-ray and sit down and watch the whole entire thing. I get the gist of what was going on in that movie, but from what I remember of it, it was good. And everybody loves The Exorcist, everybody raves about The Exorcist. The score, just the effects they had in that movie, you know, the famous head-spinning scene was crazy. And it's another movie I unfortunately don't have in my collection, but it is a movie I'm going to recommend to you guys because everybody loves The Exorcist. Alright guys, what'd you think of that intro? I'm sorry, you know what, I had to do it, I've had this mask since I was a kid. I know it's not the best Jason mask, but you know what, it works, it's creepy, okay? So, obviously guys, you know what I'm going to be talking about next. I'm going to be talking about the Friday the 13th movies now. I do have the first 4, and I have the first one on Blu-ray. I have parts 5 to 8 also on DVD. I just don't have them with me right now. And I do have the His Name Was Jason documentary. The other parts I do not have yet, but I probably will be getting shortly. Now, anyway, guys, the Friday the 13th series, again, it's another one of my favorite horror franchises of all time. It's probably my second favorite horror franchise, actually. You've been looking at the posters behind me this whole video, and I just love these movies. I know a lot of them are badly written. Most of them are really just the same thing, just Jason stalking teenagers around or near his camp, around or near Camp Crystal Lake, and, you know, he just picks them off one by one, each movie. But you know what? They're classic, good, cheesy horror films, in my opinion. And that's why I like to watch them. I love to watch. They're a must-watch if you like slasher movies every single Halloween. You forget the fact that they're not the best movies, but you just enjoy them anyway. So that's why I watch the Friday the 13th movies. Now, obviously, the first one is my favorite out of all of them. It's just it's a classic. I know there are some, you know, plot holes or errors in the movie, But forget all that and just sit down and enjoy it. Watch Mrs. Voorhees stalking teenagers, young horny teenagers around the camp. And it's just a really fun movie, and the Friday the 13th, the original, is honestly one of my favorite horror films of all time. I love it. It's classic. The score is amazing, and, you know, it was really gory and bloody. The original Halloween obviously inspired Friday the 13th. This movie came out, I think, in 1980, and it's a classic. I love it. I have the poster. I love it. You're not going to get another classic horror film like Friday the 13th. It's a great slasher. I do love the way they ended. They set us up for the sequels, of course, and overall, I like the overall story of the Friday the 13th movies. I thought it was very creative. You know, a young boy drowns, his mother freaks out, kills the camp counselors, the boy comes back, he's, you know, completely deformed or whatever, gets a hockey mask like the one I have right here, and begins killing camp counselors, and I thought it was just a genius concept, and they're just fun horror films to watch around Halloween time. That's what the Friday the 13th movies are. Now, I love the first one, honestly. Part 2 was really good because we were introduced to Jason. A lot of people prefer Part 2 over 1, but the first one's a classic. You're never going to get a better film than the first Friday the 13th. The Part 3, it had the 3D gimmick. You know what? It was fun. It introduced the biker gang, and, you know, I thought the first 4 I really liked. Part 4 was okay, kind of crappy, kind of the same, a rehash of 2 and 3, just Jason killing teenagers. Now, I haven't seen 5 yet, haven't seen 6, 7, or 8. I did see Jason Goes to Hell. Not a big fan of that one at all. Jason X, we all know how bad Jason X was. It's so bad. Jason X is one of those movies that's so bad it's good. Freddy vs. Jason was a lot of fun in my opinion. And the Friday the 13th remake was okay. Not the worst remake, but it wasn't that great either. So, but overall, I love this franchise. I have to watch parts 5 to 8, and I'll be completely all caught up. But other than that, I highly recommend the Friday the 13th. Definitely watch them very close around Halloween. Can't breathe in that thing. Whew. Oh. Hey guys, I'm not Michael, don't worry. Alright guys, it's time to talk about my absolute favorite horror franchise of all time. You're never gonna get another franchise better than the Halloween movies, guys. The Halloween movies, they're absolutely my favorite horror films ever made. The sequels not so much, especially the first 2. They are 2 of my favorite horror films of all time. And the first original Halloween from director John Carpenter is honestly the greatest horror film I've ever seen in my life. Some people are going to say The Exorcist is their favorite. Some people are going to say Psycho is their favorite. The best horror film, in my opinion, that I've ever watched. The only horror film that has just left a huge impact on me. And the only horror film I will never forget is the original Halloween from John Carpenter. I mean, this is just horror filmmaking at its finest. I have nothing but good things to say about the original Halloween. I mean, I'm not even gonna, you know, really sum up what Halloween is about. You guys should know the story of Michael Myers and then the story of Halloween. It's a classic, and if you don't know anything about Michael Myers or Halloween, stop watching this video and please go put on Halloween right now. It's the best horror film to watch on Halloween. I mean, come on, for God's sake, the title of the movie is Halloween, so you should be watching this movie on Halloween. But anyway, guys, the first Halloween, it's my favorite indie, independent film. It is an independent film. It's my favorite indie of all time, for sure. And just the way it was directed, the cinematography, the score is the most iconic score, horror score, ever made. Just seeing the character of Michael Myers for the first time on the big screen was crazy. I really wish I was born in, or I was old enough to see this movie, or I existed in 1978 when it came out, because I would have loved to experience this movie on the big screen in 1978. That would have been amazing. Performances were great. The story was incredible. Really intense. While the movie never actually scared me. I mean, when I was a kid, it scared the hell out of me, yeah. But now I look back at it, it doesn't scare me now. But it is just such a creepy movie. And I just love the time period in the movie. Just, you know, it really depicted the fall really well. Halloween Day excellently. And I can sit here talking about this movie all day long. That's how much I love it. And I just picked up the digibook, the 35th anniversary. 35 years this movie has been made. That's incredible. And I can't wait till it hits 50. I really can't. So the first Halloween is my favorite horror film of all time. I'm glad we've established that. Now the sequels, real quick, I'm going to talk about them briefly. Halloween 2 is the greatest horror sequel of all time. I don't care what anyone says. I love this movie. I have nothing but good respect for this movie. I love where it was set. I know it was directed by Rick Rosenthal. Carpenter did not direct this one. But I think Rosenthal did a good job, and it brought back Donald Pleasance and Jamie Lee Curtis and Michael Myers again, stalking Laurie in the hospital, trying to kill her. And the reason why I love Halloween 2 so much is because it gave the first one a meaning. It gave the first one a reason, because in the first one we never knew why Michael Myers was after Laurie Strode, but in the second one it's revealed why he was after Laurie Strode, and that's why I feel the second one is a very crucial sequel. It's the best horror sequel I've ever seen. The score, again, they changed it, but I like the way they changed it. It was good still, and it's just a classic. This is another classic film. I love these two. They go hand in hand. I got the posters right there. These are amazing. Now the other sequels, nowhere near as good as the first two, for sure. No other Halloween sequel will ever be as good as the first two. 4 and 5, they were released back to back, and the fourth one I really liked. It was, of course, not as good as the first two, but I really like it. I like the introduction of Daniel Harris as Jamie. And the fifth one, I liked the fifth one. The only problem I had with it was just a little outrageous. Jamie having psychic abilities, she could see what Michael Myers does. I mean, that's one thing I just didn't like about 5. But other than that, I thought it was good. I liked the way they ended it. Now, the other ones, 6, 7, and 8. 6, I absolutely hated with the way they took it, what they wrote. The writing was shit. The editing was crap on that film. I hated Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers, especially the end. The first half was good. The end sucked. I hated the thing with the Cult of Thorn crap. That really pissed me off. I do not like 6. H2O was really good. Brought back Jamie Lee Curtis. I really liked H2O. Resurrection was bad, but you know what? Honestly, I hated 6 more. I really did, because just Michael Myers would not go after and kill his sister because the Cult of Thorn wanted him to. I did not like that plot element in 6. I always liked the idea of Michael Myers killing his sister because he just snapped and lost his shit, and that's why I don't like Halloween 6. It ruined Halloween, in my opinion. But other than that, nothing will ever come between 1 and 2, and 1 is my favorite horror film of all time. So that's really it, guys. I mean, Halloween films are classic. They're my favorite. It's my favorite horror franchise of all time. I hope you guys check the Halloween movies out during October. I mean, it's a must. The Halloween movies are a must-watch every single Halloween. So that's really all I have to say about that. I mean, it's freaking Halloween. And look at this. Look at this face. Look at how creepy that face is. That is creepy, and I love this mask. I had this mask since I was a kid, and I will forever be a huge Michael Myers fanboy. I'm a big fan of Halloween movies, and they are definitely my favorite horror films to watch around Halloween. Alright guys, that's basically it. That's every single horror movie and every single thriller film / found footage film that I wanted to show you guys in the video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I really had a fun time making it. And you know what? It's the month of October. It's Halloween time, and that's why I wanted to make it. I'm such a big horror movie fan. I'm a big horror movie buff. I love thrillers. I love watching horror movies. I love slasher films, and that's why I wanted to make this video. So I hope you guys really enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed a couple of my little intros that I threw in for Insidious, Halloween, and Friday the 13th. And yeah, guys. So thank you guys so much for watching. And real quick, down below in the comments, I want you guys to leave as many comments as you want to. Please let me know if I did not include any horror film or thrill film in this video. Let me know whatever I forgot or whatever I left out. Let me know some of your favorite horror movies to watch around Halloween time. If you want to talk about any of these movies I just mentioned, go right ahead. I would love to start discussions with you guys down below in the comments, so please, please, I highly encourage you to do so. And again, guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for staying. Thank you for watching all my videos that I made in October. I made a lot of Blu-ray reviews and unboxings. I did a couple of horror movie reviews, and I want to thank you guys for watching all my videos this October. I hope to bring you a fun October. I hope to bring you fun October videos next October for the next month of Halloween. I hope to do something fun next year as well. And that's all I really have to say. So thank you guys so much for watching. Bye, guys.